Hey, I'm Carrie, aka American Arbitrage, and I'm a full-time reseller. This is what I do for a living, and I do social media about it, and I get asked all the time, what kind of stuff do you look for to flip online for a profit? What's valuable? What's not? What stuff should I look for? And I go to thrift stores, garage sales, all over the place. But today I'm going to a thrift store, and I'm going to show you what I look for, and also what I don't look for, which is just as important. It is just gonna be me today. Dawn is in St. George with her dad, so wish me luck. There are a ton of donations coming in. I wonder if that's a good sign. A lot of people are dropping stuff off. At first glance, this mantle train thing here on the right looks kind of cool, but there's a couple things you're gonna notice right off the bat. There's no train, and it has a date that says 2002 on it. Typically, if there's Christmas or holiday items and they have a specific date, that's typically a no-go. That's not gonna have much of any value, but you're going to find a lot of stuff in the holiday and trinket section. Here's another thing I stay away from: Avon decanters. Everybody had them in the 1970s. They were wildly popular. Some people collect them, but nobody really pays for them. Same with collectible plates. I've said it in many of my videos before. If something's made to be collectible, it almost never ends up being so. Do they really make porcelain dolls anymore? I really don't know anybody who still makes them, but they were everywhere back in the day. And what you're going to notice at thrift stores is they overprice them, one, and two, they don't have much resale value. It's not a good combination. Now, if you got a tote full of those, 20, 30 of them, and maybe it was $5 or $10, maybe take a flyer, learn a little bit about them. There might be a couple brands that are okay. Madame Alexander for the small stuff can be all right. But in general, I'd stay away from that stuff. But I look for Spode. I look for Fitz and Floyd. I look for Department 56. There's a lot of brands in general. If you just look on eBay and check Christmas listings and stuff like that, you can find a lot of stuff that has value. Here's another thing that has an exact date on it, 2000 Las Vegas. There's really going to be next to no demand for that, so don't buy that stuff. Trading cards are tricky, but you can make money on them. This is $5.49 for a little stack of cards. These are from the movie Dune, the original one, 1984. These I'm willing to buy because I sell sports cards and trading cards, and I sell them at like $1 a piece. So that bag may end up being $40, $50 when it's all said and done. I got that because I don't see Dune that often. Sports cards like this I see all the time. If I could look in and see what cards were in there, I might consider buying it, but it's all a mystery, and there could be nothing but common, no star cards in there. And when it's like that, for the most part, I'm going to stay away. Be curious. I saw this Super Mario Galaxy, and I thought this was going to be money. This was going to be a no-brainer bag. I looked it up. It's not worth that much money. I had to pass. Another thing you have to constantly remind yourself when you're at garage sales, thrift stores like this, and yard sales, when you find something cool like this, check it over very carefully. There's chips on the handle. It might have still sold because it's on the back of the handle, but I decided to pass. It was a fairly good price. I would have bought it otherwise. When I saw this, I immediately thought Debbie Mum, but it isn't Debbie Mum. It's Linda Corneal. $3.49, super inexpensive. It's a creamer. It's signed on the bottom. $3.49 isn't that bad of a price. Unfortunately, as you can tell, it doesn't have the stopper. It doesn't have the top. Since it doesn't have the top, I'm going to pass, but this might have been $25 to $40 plus shipping if it was all there. So the Golden Knights are the hockey team here in Las Vegas. This was a set of 4. You got 4 of those for $4.49. There was 8 of them total. I decided to get them all. 2 had sold for like 22 shipped. I think I can get about 30 to 40 plus shipping on those. Usually when you're in the toy section, you're going to see a lot of McDonald's and Happy Meal style toys. In general, unless they're vintage or brand new, they're not going to be worth that much. I look for action figure, vintage pop culture items, whether it be Disney or Muppet Babies or whatever. I look for that kind of stuff, and action figures number 1. That's my favorite thing to find. They could be small, they could be big, and if they have a lot of movement, a lot of articulation, like this has a G.I. Joe. That was a G.I. Joe in a Star Wars uniform and another Star Wars figure in here. So 2 action figures and a couple other random pieces. I'm going to go ahead and buy that bag. I should make some money. Dawn's not here today, and she is an expert when it comes to plushes, but I know a little bit of what I'm doing. I've been doing this for years. You look out for brands like this, which is Build-A-Bear. They can be great. Look them up, though. Not everyone is great. This one has a little bit of matting on the fur or the plush part of it, so I decided to pass on that. But you never know what you're going to find. Look for interesting characters. Look for Disney. Look for stuff that has Build-A-Bear on it. Some other good brands include Knickerbocker. That's from the 1970s. Definitely a good one if you find that. And Jellycat. Jellycat is a really good brand. This right here is an example of a unique and interesting plush you don't see every day. It's a Brainy Beanie. It's Sigmund Freud, a famous neurologist from the early 1900s. $3.49 for both these plushes. I should be able to make a profit just just on the Freud plush by itself. On to the hat section. Definitely one of my favorite sections in all of the thrift store, and they're usually overpriced at sports games. I just paid $35 for this one the other night. So I like to find sports teams like UCLA. This at a stadium could be $30, $40, $50. That unfortunately had the creases on it like that, so I decided to pass. I typically focus on snapback hats because I like that style personally, and also it's typically for adults one size fits all, or for children one size fits all. So if they like the hat, they don't have to worry about the size. They typically can just buy it. I can't really pick it up at $14.99. That's too much. $14.99 also too much. If those Rams hats were $2, $3, maybe even $4 or $5, I would probably pick those up to flip because they're probably worth about $15. Unfortunately, not going to go for that much more than what they're asking here at this thrift store. Thankfully, at this Savers, they have a ton of stuff. This is a 2022 NFL draft hat. They just had the draft here in Vegas, but there was no markings on it, so I wasn't 100% sure that it was legit. But they have a lot of high-quality hats here. Unfortunately, usually, you're seeing the same clip again, they're going to be pricing them at this particular thrift store a little too much. This is a good tag to look out for when you're looking at hats in general. You're going to look inside these baseball hats, and you're going to see Cooperstown Collection. That's typically retro-inspired and retro-style MLB hats. So if you find them at the right price, once again, usually $5 and below, you're going to be able to make a few dollars profit, and quite possibly $30, $40, $50 on some of the nicer ones or collab ones that they can have available. One of the biggest pieces of advice I can give to any new reseller is this: you make the money in the buy. If you will buy an item low enough at a good price, you can always make money. If you have a $30 item all day and you bought it for $5, you can give somebody a deal at $15 or $20. You can send out an offer, and it'll sell, and you're still going to make money because you didn't overpay for it. So remember, you make the money in the buy. I've said this many times, and I'll say it again. This is the reality of doing this full time. It's a lot of singles, a lot of bread and butter items, as we say, $5 to $50 items that you find almost every single day. And you should have a route. Go to several thrift stores in one day. Go check on Facebook Marketplace. Go to garage sales. Go to flea markets. Go to auctions. Go all over the place. You can find deals. Some days are so-so like today, and some days are amazing, and you can make a ton of money. Me and Don, we sell everything. We sell things from $1 plus shipping, sports cards usually, all the way up to hundreds and hundreds of dollars. Just in the last couple days, I think in the last 2 days, and it's only midway through the second day, so less than 48 hours, we've sold 48 different items on eBay. Now that's a bit more than usual, but we've been really focusing on listing and doing what we need to do to make the business work lately. We sold everything from like dollar cards. I sold one card for $115 plus shipping yesterday, and several cards in between that level, $1 and $115. We sold some Yadro that we just found yesterday, and we have a bunch more. It's going to be amazing. If you guys want to check out our video yesterday where we found the Yadro at a garage sale, go check it. I'll link it somewhere in here. I'll figure out how to do that. And also, we've sold all sorts of random stuff. We just sold, when I was in the Savers, we sold $50 worth of Betsy Clark vintage, semi-vintage. I think they're only like 20 years old, retro style holiday greeting cards, basically. They're like best wishes cards and stuff. A cool kind of retro style. I got a whole big bag, maybe of 80 total cards for like $5. And we sold just 2 lots of 8 for $50 plus shipping. So there's money everywhere, and it's in the most random stuff. And that's why it's important to watch videos like these and other people's videos. There's lots of great people in this community that you can learn from. Figure out what you're into. I niche down a little bit into cards and sports stuff, but I also know enough of other types of stuff to be dangerous, to know, to not pass up some money when I see it. So keep watching these kind of videos. You can learn a ton. Oh, you're still here.